up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond. I'm back with my own new review of Married to Medicine. So we are back in the ATL. We have Toya. She is starting things off with cooking in the kitchen. Her body is amazing. Eugene is doing some work. Toya asks him, has he reached out to any of the fellas since they came back from Key West? Eugene says, no, I kind of want to give people their space because he can understand when you are full of emotions and triggering feelings, you might want to take some time to decompress and cool things down before you speak to anybody. And this is approaching Toya's and Eugene's 16th wedding anniversary, and she wants to throw a party. We all know that Toya is infamous for her party. She has great themes, and she wants to do a Bridgerton Victorian theme, which sounds really fun. I love the invitation of the Lady Rumor Mill. And she's inviting all the couples to a dance rehearsal. So that way they'll know the announcement as to why they have been invited to a dance rehearsal. But it's all about who they want to invite. Eugene and Toya are in a good place with everybody. They want everybody to come. But when it comes to Greg and Quad, how should we go about with that? They cannot operate in the same room as of right now. They have always been known to push each other's buttons since the beginning. And we don't want to have that every time we are around one another. So I think that they need to figure that out before they are around each other. And what should we do? Toya asks Eugene, he likes King, right? And her and Quad are in a good place. And she wants to keep it that way. I don't want to alienate her. So it's like you damn if you do, you damn if you don't, about respecting both parties, but choosing who to invite and who you don't want feelings to be hurt. That's a dilemma. At the same time, we got Heavenly. She's at home working on the puzzle. She's an empty nester. And Quad walks in, and Heavenly want to say that Quad could have caught her having sex all over this house. And Quad do not believe that Heavenly is christening any part of this house with her and Damon of having great sex. She do not believe that. And I kind of don't either. I feel like Damon and Heavenly have not express their freaky side as much. I don't think it's gone past the bedroom, in my opinion. But either way, it's to each his own. They also discuss about what happened in Key West. Heavenly wants to know how the squad feel. And she said it was a lot. I didn't expect for things to go left like that. And I am not going to put my man in that type of compromising situation again. Heavenly is trying to put a bug in Quad's ear by saying, yeah, Greg and his new wife, they cannot operate in the same space right now. They need to distance themselves. And I'm getting irritated because already enough, I am seeing Heavenly trying to set up to ice Sweet Tea out of the group because they're now in a more comfortable place with Quad after y'all assume she did not want to have a friendship with y'all. Now that you're seeing her trying, you're seeing her wanting to be around you guys more, it's saying Quad is in, Sweet Tea is out, and that pisses me off. I feel like y'all need to give Sweet Tea a bit more grace, a bit more understanding. I don't think she deserves to be treated like this, especially by you, Heavenly, when you were the one who infiltrated her into the group. You were the one who brought her around. That's crazy. So Quad wants to have a girls' night with just the girls so they can put the focus on their friendship. Okay, let's reassess who we are to one another. And everybody is invited except for Phaedra and Sweet Tea. Please leave Phaedra out of the group chat. She has left the group chat. She's back on RHOA. She don't have time for y'all bitches no more. And I understand why Sweet Tea didn't make the list. I would want Quad and Sweet Tea to have their own separate conversations to discuss what has transpired so they can move forward. Not in any way of being friends, but to be cordial. So that was the end of that scene. And we got Toya inviting all the couples to a dance hall for rehearsal. All the women are wearing petticoats. I see Anila and Kieran pull up. Hey, Anila. That's when she'll announce their anniversary and the theme of the party. So when she came in, she did not see Quad. She's like, where's Quad? Heavenly said she's not coming because she didn't want to be without King. And Toy was like, let's be for real. Okay, this is a big ass room. Both couples could have came and avoided each other the entire time. They would have been able to duck without seeing one another. Like, let's grow up, okay? But I get the fact that this is still a very sensitive time. I don't think that 3 days is enough time to let things die down. I think there should be more time for both couples to reassess the situation. And I don't even know if Toya sent a message to Sweet Tea about the dance rehearsal. I don't know if she did. We see Steve come in. I don't see Mimi with him. Mimi got stuck at the office, but she'll still feel on everybody that wasn't there about what's going on. So she thanks everybody for coming and that they have been her and Eugene's village for the last 11 years. So that's when she gives them their Lady Rumor Mill Georgian Chronicles. And it was an amazing idea. Of course, Heavenly likes to hate and say this is classic Toya. She likes to do everything big and grand. And I know she didn't write this shit. And as far as how this is going to be a big ass party, we know this money will be from her. And it's like, fine, fine, fine. Simone, same thing. She wanted to correct Toya by saying she didn't write this. AI definitely did a great job reciting these words. Sometimes I get a bit annoyed whenever they make it seem as if Toya is not educated, she's not smart, she does not have the capacity to create a great invitation. That'd be the issue for me. They like to just devalue her at certain times. That's giving Mean Girl to me. Anyway, so who else is invited? They brought a Phaedra again. Stop bringing a Phaedra. She's not coming. And like Toya said, Phaedra is a lost cause. I am concerned about Greg, Sweet Tea, King, and Quad. And I don't want to have to choose between the two. So Contessa comes in with an update about Greg and Sweet Tea and revealed that there might be a restraining order out on King. But Toya said there was no physical touch. And why would you file a complaint if there was no physical touch? Steve says, Street Code 101, you do not call the cops. I am with Simone. That is such a bitch move right there. So he want to say it was an attempted assault? No, Greg. I cannot get with you on that. It was a back and forth between you and King. Y'all both were giving each other that energy. And when he was saying, I'll whoop your ass, you want to go and cry wolf? I've heard it all over. Whether or not he did or did not file a police report, but it didn't stick because there was no actual touch between them. And it was a controlled environment. It was full of camera crews everywhere, security. This was not an uncontrolled environment, so nothing wouldn't have happened. And I said it before, the way that King was stopped by Check and by another man, he could have easily have overpowered them if he wanted to fight you, because I don't think he wanted to. So with that being said, Greg also spoke to Contessa and said that the way that he sees things, the way that he has it played out in his mind was very different. He thought he was minding his own business, and that's when King came and provoked him. I was Toya. I was like, nigga gone. That's some bullshit. The thing about it is though, Greg, you walked up to that man the first time just to ease the tension, just to ease, any discomfort between y'all. But then the second time he approaches you to tell you he's going to let that shit slide and don't let that happen again. That's when you got defensive and you was getting disrespectful. Just like he got disrespectful. So I just think that you really was not understanding the depths he was willing to go to defend Quad, and it caught you off guard. And Heavenly, she's overhyping everything about what transpired. And Damon is still sticking by King about understanding how he felt the need to defend his woman. Sometimes you don't need to say it, but when you show up and do it, it needs to be respected. But Damon, I also called you out for that last week when Greg approached you about what Heavenly said, because what Heavenly said could have tarnished his reputation. You called him sensitive. So I just think that sometimes the rules don't apply to y'all. If there are some things that your wife have said that is very damaging, she needs to be held accountable for it. And he knows not to come to her, but he can come to you to get her straightened out. And then Eugene added that the way he is reciting what took place, our memory may not be 100% accurate either. Heavenly getting hyped up again and trying to test Eugene about what he would do if someone told his wife, shut the fuck up. He said, oh, it would have been a problem, no doubt. But the way that Heavenly's whole body language was, I just think she just wanted to say, shut the fuck up, Toya. I just think she wanted to use that as an example, just so she can say it. But of course, Eugene was going to defend his wife by any means. And Heavenly also said, if you say it to me, then it's going to be a problem. So Contessa just had a moment of clarity of hearing Heavenly just become so contradictory when she's always is, that if she got disrespected by another man, then her man has the right to defend her. But if she says something disrespectful towards another woman's husband, then it's not warranted in that same type of reaction. It's not the same thing. I guess different rules applies for certain people, because I think Heavenly just thinks that she's untouchable. Whenever she, says whatever she wants to say, whatever comes to her mind, however she wants it to say, but she just cannot be held accountable. But God forbid, if anybody was to ever talk to Damon that way, talk about Damon in that way, and she's supposed to just not react the way that she doesn't expect for anybody else to react when you're talking about their husbands, you're talking about their marriage and everything in between, sure. Pot me kettle. Heavenly is the pot and Heavenly is the kettle. Makes no type of sense in the world where you think you can just get away with talking about another woman's husband and that woman is not going to reprimand you and possibly whoop your ass for it. You get tired and annoyed when someone holds you accountable, what comes out of your mouth, because you're always in that realm of saying, I'm going to say it, then I'm going to take it back. Never really holding yourself accountable and never really truly apologizing for what comes out of your mouth. Cool. So Eugene did say that him and Scott did set up a time to speak to Greg to hear his side and then figure out if him and King can have a civilized conversation. Because Eugene is not happy that you will go to such lengths to call the authority. We're grown. Nothing serious happened. Like, we can easily see if this situation can get squashed, right? So when they all took lessons, they took lessons to learn the waltz. It was nice. It was fun. Can't wait for the whole party to come out. Now we are continuing with Toya. Toya is inviting Sweet Tea and Mimi out to lunch, considering they weren't there for the dress rehearsal to receive their Georgian Chronicle invitations. And I appreciate Toya for reaching out, because a lot has happened while they were in Florida and she wanted to bring everybody in. She wants them to have the space to address their issues and figure out how we can move forward. So I don't want to have to choose. And asking Sweet Teas, how have you been? And, she said, I think it's been hard, considering that everybody has had different kinds of relationships. And in this group, when there's been a divorce, it's been hard on both sides. And it's kind of tough when people don't want to move on. And, her husband is in an angry place. Well, your husband's been the main one not wanting to move on. So Toya asked her, so when he was in his feelings, is that why he decided to file a police report? Because he was in his angry place? Again, she's defending Gregory like she should. That's her husband. And she said that's just him. That's just how his thought process was. So was there anything in the police report? Did he say anything to the police officer? Sweet Tea doesn't want to give any details out of it because it is her business. She has every right to. But she don't feel like there was no malicious intent, but she do think that Greg's reception of it was King coming at him on malicious intent, because he took his shirt off and he was running up towards him. And it's just like, Sweet Tea, I know you're defending your man, but that's not what happened. Because if you're going back and forth with somebody and you tell him who you think you're talking to, and I figured you'd be like that because I know how your girl is, that's fighting words. Which is why he was pushed back, but you keep talking. That's when he took off his shirt and was running up towards you. Energy versus energy. And Toya is wondering about how are we not extending grace to certain people? Because why aren't we extending the same type of grace to King like we would for you, like we would for Greg? Because Toya said that there have been times where we have seen Tisha not be Tisha. And when she was, running like a track star to get to her man, but she went straight towards King, which wasn't right. Then the whole prayer circle was not sitting right with me. Then Mimi is switching up her tune by saying, that's not what I'm used to seeing as my friend. When I was holding you, I was not holding you. I didn't see you. But I'm just like, wait, Mimi, how come you're now saying when you was holding her, you didn't see her? But when you was walking up on her, you told her, don't ever let them get involved between you and Greg. Don't let them do that shit. This is your covenant. Make that make sense. So as far as like trying to hold Sweet Tea accountable for her actions, I just don't like how it's being painted as if she is just this over dramatic person who just causes havoc and chaos every time she's around everybody. That I don't like. Because y'all keep on saying, have you seen yourself? Have you looked in the mirror? You done your share of the BS? You need to hold yourself accountable. I get that. I mean, if you want to call her out for running to King when she shouldn't have ran to King, then I get that. Maybe going back and forth with Quad the night before when she was trying to tell her husband to sit back, not let that bother him. I get that. But I need to know, when are y'all going to hold Heavenly accountable for the way she came out of nowhere, being rude and disrespectful, cussing that Sweet Tea, when all she did was ask her a question about why did she invite Shireen and Apollo. So that, Toya, I'm not agreeing with the painting of Sweet Tea being the most crazy, dramatic person that just cannot handle herself when she's around a lot of people. She just does the most. That I'm not agreeing with. I am agreeing with holding herself accountable in certain areas, but the whole erratic behavior, I'm not. And look, Toya asks, how can we figure out a way for you and Quad to have a conversation about boundaries? Which I do think is a great conversation. Sweet Tea says, up to Greg. It's up to him. Toya wanted to know, did she bring it up to him? She says she has, and he's not going for it. It flashed back to the last time that she expressed her difference in seeing certain situations apart from Greg, and he just wanted to call her dumb, call her naive, and just being very rude and disrespectful towards her. Toya asks her, so what do you need from us in order for you to be part of this friend group? Do you want to stop being friends with us? She says, no, I don't want to stop being friends with y'all, but I just think that this is still a lot, and I am just trying to figure out how we can move forward. And she's still putting Gregory's input as to pretty much monitoring how she's going to move forward. And Toya is not asking how does Greg feel. She's asking how does Tisha feels about this. Do you want to establish a friendship with us along with what transpired? Now, I do think that Toya is trying to give Sweet Tea the space of being open and honest, that while you don't want to be in this negative tension space with Quad and Greg, you don't want to be involved in that. You don't have an issue with Quad. You don't even want to deal with Quad in that aspect. You are just trying to move forward and be cordial. You don't want to follow the same energy he's on. You don't want to take on his battles like it's yours. And you want to move forward. And you want to move forward with everybody else. But I feel like since she's in such a hard position because she is Greg's wife and she wants to be 10 toes down with her husband, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's giving her a blockage of not being open and honest about what she wants to say. And Toya said in her confessional, she doesn't know the relationship between Dr. G and Sweet Tea. But she doesn't like to see women silence themselves and allows their men to speak for them, which is what we're seeing right now. I'm not seeing Tisha defend herself and what she still wants in this friend group. I'm not seeing her say, you know what, I appreciate you giving me this space, but I can't answer that right now because this is a very raw and sensitive situation. And offer me a bit of grace to at least be honest with you by saying I am appreciative if you still include me in certain things, but I'm not going to take offense to it if you don't include me in certain things because I want to let this be situated out first. And I gotta give Toya this opportunity. I gotta give Toya her kudos for wanting to be open and present of hearing Sweet Tea out. And Sweet Tea did appreciate about Toya being the one to reach out, to talk to her about it, to talk to her how it makes her feel. And Toya is in that space where I feel like I'm going to have to choose, because if you're not telling me that you don't know what you want to do, you're not telling me how you are going to now navigate being better in certain situations, then you don't know how you're going to react. You don't know how you're going to behave. So since you can't tell me, then I'm going to have to be put in a position to choose, and I'm choosing not you. Moving on from there. We got Scott. I invited Greg and Eugene over, and Eugene is discussing to Greg about how he did not reach out to him instantly because he wanted to give him space to assess the situation. Then he brought up the rumor that you did file a police report. Greg just admitted that he did. So what if I did? He said, I'm a grown-ass man. I'm too old to be fighting with people. Okay, well then the best thing for you to not do is to not engage with another man that could lead to you getting your ass whooped. I'm not saying you wouldn't have been able to defend yourself, Greg. I'm just saying you cannot engage with a man in that type of environment and assume it's going to be just sunshine and rainbows later. You know what I'm saying? You weren't innocent in this situation. And oh, what did you charge him with? He said battery, but did he touch you? Greg said no, he didn't touch me, but he wants to still use the repercussions of what an assault for battery could mean. A fine, a 90-day jail sentence. It sounds very serious, but it's like nothing happened. Greg, what is wrong with you? Like, I get it. Like, you trying to come at him the way he came at you, but that's not what happened. You guys were both going back and forth. Yes, did King come at an awkward time to check you about apologizing to Quad? Yes, he did. But don't act as if you did not ignite that flame when you told Quad that she got a big fucking mouth, and he was not appreciating that. Now, again, I just thought that would have been ended when y'all was on that beach and you told him you weren't giving him a warm welcome, and it was no disrespect towards him, but it was just a lot that happened and I just didn't like it. He could have ended with that. But when you told him, you told Quad, you got a big fucking mouth, he instantly had the right to defend her. Sorry. And Eugene is like, I'm not a cop caller, okay? Because I feel like it was an argument between two men who were defending their spouses, their partner at the time, and it got out of hand. It resulted in conflict, because that's how I see it. Eugene is believing that y'all both had the right to defend y'all girl, but it ended wrong. So how can we resolve that you guys both were defending y'all girls and it just got read the wrong way? It was a form of miscommunication. How can we move on from that? Because King said it the day after the fight that he doesn't have a problem with Greg. He doesn't want to be problem around Greg. It's just the disrespect, okay? And he held himself accountable and Quad accountable that there were trauma, there were issues, that were digs slurred on both sides. So both parties are at fault. So Scott said, so what do you want from it? Do you want an apology from Quad? Like, what do you want? He said, I'm going to tell you what I want. So Greg decided to pull out his laptop and his JPEG speaker to to play his hit single about how he want to be set free from the bullshit. Eugene had me hollering. He was saying, it's giving sex with chocolate. The boy can sing. The boy is good, ain't it? Good and terrible. I cannot take you seriously in this moment, Greg. I really cannot. It was just like, throw the whole scene away. This scene just had me gone. I couldn't take it whatsoever. I really couldn't. Moving on. Quad has her girls' night. Her home is amazing. I love her backyard. Everybody came in looking fabulous. Heaven decides to be on her hot girl summer shit and put all this fiery red hair and got her body all out and stuff. I said, okay. Phaedra's gone. Stop bringing up Phaedra. The rules of being at Quad's house is that you cannot bring up the past. We're going onward and upward. Kind of interesting, because Quad is always mad about what's been said in the past, as it is a continuous issue when it's already been resolved. Sure. So now we're moving onward and upward. Simone wanted to make sure that she was coming to Toya's party, regardless of what has occurred, right? Because Toya will give her her invitation, and Quad said due to certain circumstances, they may not be present. She would love to be there. And Toya did give her the space to reconsider, because she was happy that Quad told her in that moment that she might not come. But she wants to give her the space of understanding that if you want to come, I want you to come. If you don't, I get it. Now, while Toya is talking and how she feels like, I don't believe we're not a mature group of women, that we cannot come together, we cannot fix our problems, and everybody has their own part. Simone was just rolling her eyes and just shaking her head and just getting uncomfortable, readjusting herself in her seat. I'm like, what is Simone's issue? Why are you mad about Toya giving an understanding and explaining that we are a forgiving group of women, and I don't think that we are above not understanding other people's parts in this? So Simone took over the conversation to say, everybody has to own their part in this. So when King said the next day that he was wrong, he did what he did, that's a real man right there. He was a real man to admit he made a mistake. He said he was sorry. Simone, sit down. Why are you and Heavenly and Jackie, why are y'all fangirling so much about King stepping in and defending his girl as if y'all never seen a man defend his girl before? As if y'all never seen a man step up to what's right and what's wrong. It's just like, Simone, sit down somewhere. But where is your accountability, Simone, about how you were a part of Heavenly's plan of bringing Apollo to the trip? And that it all backfired on your asses when Phaedra brought Check, and how you saw the whole thing came apart with Apollo and Check and Phaedra getting into it. Like, Simone, where's your accountability? Because it pissed me off when you once gave an apology to Apollo and Shireen. You didn't even check in on Phaedra. You didn't check in on Mimi and Steve because they had to witness it. You didn't check in on Quad and King. You didn't check in on Sweetie and Greg. None of y'all, except for Contessa, except for Toya, except for Mimi. You Golden Girl bitches, y'all didn't check in on nobody. So you can miss me with how everybody needs to hold themselves accountable, Simone. Oh my God. I cannot, okay? Because it's not just one party. Everybody else needs to hold their part. So Toya talks about her conversation she had with Mimi and Sweet Tea about how we are going to move on with you. How do you plan on moving on and being part of the group? Mimi jumps in and said that there was a lack of accountability. I didn't hear her say she wanted to move forward. I didn't hear it. From her perspective, she didn't hear it. Contessa wanted to know from Mimi's perspective, because she was brought in this group by Sweet Tea. How do you feel about how she's saying she's not really, in that space of answering you whether or not she wants to be part of the group? And Contessa, in her confessional, I'm not agreeing with making everything a big deal about what happened, because it doesn't need to be a big deal. So she is Team Greg and Team Sweet Tea. And Contessa, I hear you. And I get you, because I don't want this to be a big deal. But I feel like the big deal was when Greg decided to file a police report. That was the big deal. And I feel like the way that people are just not allowing Sweet Tea and Greg to have their space of understanding where they come from is them perpetuating that energy of trying to ice them out. Because I feel like other people are making a bigger deal, like Jackie is, like Simone is, like Heavenly is. Them three are using the distance between Quad and Greg as a way to say they don't need to be here. They don't know how to move forward. They don't know how to set the accountability, because they don't want to hold themselves accountable of how they were the ones who pretty much wanted this to happen. Y'all did. The way y'all ask those questions, the way that y'all like to point things out that Sweet Tea does, y'all wanted this to happen. Y'all wanted the mess to happen. Y'all just don't want to be held accountable that y'all were moving little things along to get to this point. So Toya talks about how Quad and King are able to handle being on the opposite side of the room for us, and for Sweet Tea to not know how she'll handle things or how she will react to things. Then with answering, she had no malicious intent. She don't know how this will work out. But Toya is not hearing the want. She's not hearing that you're willing to try. And she doesn't want to be in that space where I have to be in a space to choose who I have to invite, when I don't want to be in that space of choosing who I want to be around and who I don't want to be around. I don't want that choice. So right now I'm choosing. Now, Toya, I don't think that you were in that type of dire need, that dire space of having to choose between Sweet Tea and Quad. But I do think you are using the agreement you have with Quad about how you guys are apologizing, you guys are moving forward, you guys want to be better. That's where you are at. I think that the issue with Sweet Tea and Quad is not as big as y'all trying to make it out to be. Quad is feeling it about Toya standing up for her and King, and believing how she wants to move forward, how she wants to continue to move forward. Because we got a flashback of all those times that Quad and Toya have gone back and forth. And it broke my heart, because they were great friends. But when there were a whole bunch of slurs and rumors and lies going back and forth with one another, sometimes Quad didn't want to take accountability for what she said. Apologized for it. I didn't like how long it took her. But they both agreed that they want to move forward. And that's what Toya said. We have done so much to one another. I don't want to go back to that. I want to move forward. I want us to still stay in a good space. And she sees Quad and King owning their part. Well, I hear King owning his part. I'm not hearing Quad owning her part a little bit. But It pissed me off with Simone and Heavenly saying, Toy, that was so good. Like, I have a new appreciation for you. Shut the fuck up, Heavenly, because you don't even do that shit. So Quad appreciates the ladies coming and happy that they put themselves into her shoes. And it was very touching. It was very, rewarding. I don't think they put your situation in their shoes. I don't think so. I think they're just using it as a way to ice out Sweet Tea now because she's of no value to them at this moment. Because I'm only giving kudos to Toya, Contessa, a little bit of Mimi. I'm only giving them credit because they were the ones who wanted to see if they could figure it out. They were the ones who was giving both sides of a conversation. She's the one that's been holding people accountable. And she's the one who's been saying that she don't want nobody to be isolated. She don't want nobody to be treated like they supposed to accept all of this treatment and anger and mean girlness in front of them. No, it's been Toya for me. I'm not giving no kudos to nobody else except for Toya, Contessa, and Mimi. That's who I'm giving grace to. Nobody else. Because y'all didn't want to think of that. Y'all just stood there and thought that y'all didn't have the means, or y'all felt like it was beneath y'all to check in on somebody on how certain things have made them feel. Y'all just been jumping on the bandwagon because y'all don't want to admit that y'all done things wrong too. I ain't doing this. And then we got to the end. So Jackie decides to check in on Phaedra because she hasn't seen her since she left Key West in her private jet. And they're having the same discussion they had when she left about how she didn't feel supported by none of the ladies, especially Jackie. She told Jackie, you know what, it wasn't even you I was mad at. It was mostly Heavenly because Heavenly is just messy. She's shady. She's the devil's daughter. And Heavenly likes to see people in crazy situations. Jackie wanted to divert that and still tell Phaedra that you knew that Apollo was coming. Fine. She knew Apollo was coming, hence why she has Check as backup, because she knew y'all wanted to set this up for it to be a moment. And that's what y'all was banking on Heavenly's decision to invite him, and it backfired. Jackie is appalled with Phaedra not taking any responsibility. What does she need to be responsible for? Okay, the acknowledgement that Apollo was coming. Cool. But what she didn't know, that his wife was coming. And that is a very sensitive topic as well. The information we got from that. So she was still blindsided in a way with the wife coming. And what occurred wasn't on Phaedra. What occurred was Apollo. Apollo carrying on an issue about how he wasn't told what was going on between Phaedra and Check, which was none of his business. So that has nothing to do with Phaedra. That was all him. And that's what y'all wanted to happen. Phaedra didn't have anything to do with him getting upset about how she is having a good time with Check. Because that's all she wanted to do, was to enjoy Check, have a good time on this trip, okay? Jackie wants to convince her to come to Toya's event. Toya don't want her there, and Phaedra don't want to go. She doesn't care. She said, I don't want to be around y'all ever again. And Jackie is not holding the one person responsible that led to this fiasco, which is Heavenly. She's putting it all on Phaedra just because she knew that Apollo was coming. I ain't got time for this shit, Jackie. I don't. Then in her confessional, she thinks that all of this was Phaedra's idea to make Apollo jealous, and it backfired on her. No, it didn't backfire on her. It backfired on y'all because y'all didn't take on that she was going to bring a date on this trip. Because y'all wanted Phaedra to be embarrassed. Y'all wanted Phaedra to be in a messy situation. That's why. So you can fucking miss me with that shit, Jackie. You can miss me with that. Okay? And she ain't even mad about what's transpired. She is ready to go back to her original place because she's saying she don't want to deal with this type of shenanigans y'all got going on, because she's ready to go back with the other type of shenanigans that she is ready to be back a part of, which is on RHOA. That might be way more entertaining, might be able to do it way better than y'all tried to do, because Phaedra is not new to these types of setups and, messy moments. She's not new to this, okay? She's true to this. And Jackie want to say that Phaedra was running from her problems. No, she's running to a different Check. That's what she's doing. Because Married to Medicine was a placeholder for Phaedra. She never thought this was going to be her main job. No, she was already trying to figure out a way to get back on RHOA. Now that she has an opportunity, she ain't going to ever miss it. Hence why she left the entire show before the reunion, is not coming to the reunion, so she could use all that time and energy to prepare her return on RHOA. And you're pissing me off with trying to put all this blame on her when there should be no blame set on Phaedra whatsoever. And while Phaedra is giving her ending remarks about how she brought a lot to this show, to be honest though, Phaedra, you really didn't. Okay, you had a sound bowl situation. You weren't being open about your situation, how you're co-parenting with Apollo. You weren't being open and honest about your life in general. You had a moment about dropping 40K on a Met Gala foundation. You gave us great confessionals. You gave us funny shade in your confessionals, but that's all it was. Like, what else? Are you going to give us the same on RHOA? Are we going to know more about you? Are you going to be secretive? Are you going to give us that Southern Belle shit again? I don't know. But Jackie, you can miss me with that shit. And Phaedra, goodbye and good riddance. I am not happy about seeing your return to RHOA because I don't know what you're going to bring, but it is what it is. But y'all, that's pretty much it. That is it. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.